Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dustin here. Today I wanted to share a little story with you about the time that I stole gas from a gas station and the cops showed up at my house. But before we get started, I wanted to show you around. The story itself revolves around the S10. We haven't had the S10 featured on the channel here in a little while, but I'm just out in the yard sitting in it. Thought we'd sit in it to tell the story. But, you know, this S10, it seems like it's kind of problem after problem with it here lately. Of course, it's getting older and I really don't drive it enough. But I had mentioned in a previous video that it kind of had an electrical demon, if you will, that I was chasing down. Chased it down to the radio. I can now leave the fuse in it. And the battery won't die on me overnight, so that's a real plus. You know, the battery's lasting just like normal, so it's something with this aftermarket unit that the guy had it before me had put in here, so I either just need to put in another unit, or right now I'm just leaving it out. I don't drive the truck that much, so I don't even really need radio, but come one day I'll put something in there. And just to come out here to film the video, my rear view mirror decided to fall off. I guess the adhesive on the back had decided to come off, which is surprising actually, because this is all original to the truck. This has never been replaced or anything like that. Just looking at it I can tell. But anyways, let's go ahead and get on with the story. So if you guys have been following the channel for a little while, and if not, I encourage you to go check out those old videos. But the S10 here, I had let it sit. I've had this truck for probably 5 years now, and I've let it sit for probably 3 years. I was a bad owner, I'll admit it. I'd let it sit for 3 years, and you know, the gas in it had been in there for a long time. Probably wasn't any good, but got the truck started, kind of burned some of that gas on through it, and it was hesitating and stuttering really bad. Well, I'd originally thought that it was bad gas in the pickup itself. So, you know, I drove it around a little while. It had some heat in it and whatnot. Luckily, I was on some dirt roads, so whenever it'd die, I could get it started up again and get it where I needed to go. It eventually got to where it just wouldn't run at all, so luckily my father, the dirt roads that I was on, my father was close enough and could hit all the dirt roads to where he could just hook up and tow me home, and it worked out great. We could just pop this puppy in neutral and I could follow him behind with a chain. That's a fun other story for another time too. But anyways, problem ended up being the fuel pump. We got everything taken care of. New fuel pump dropped in here. Runs good now. And whenever I'd done that, I decided that I was going to top off my gas tank, naturally, since I drained all the gas from that, you know, checking to make sure there's no water in it or anything like that. Just thought, you know what, I'm going to put some fresh gas in it and we're going to call it good. So what I'd done was, there's a station about maybe a mile away from my house that I don't normally go to because it's a little higher price than the other ones, but I thought, you know what, it's close, it's convenient, I'm just going to go ahead and stop there and get my gas. So I pull up to one of the spots, and it's one of the ones where you can pay with your credit or debit card, just like many stations here in northern Arkansas. So run my credit card through it, and it doesn't do anything. Thought, well, that's kind of weird. So I run it again. It never does anything. So I run it a third time, trying to get it to do something, and the screen never would display anything. So what I did was, I thought, you know what, forget about it. I'm going to move on to another station. Something's broken here. So as I'm opening my door to get into my pickup, all of a sudden I hear it tick over there, and I hear the meter kick on. And I thought, well, hey, good deal. It's you know, it finally ran my card. Being a credit card doesn't prompt for a PIN. It doesn't, and that station particularly, I know, doesn't prompt for a zip code. If you guys are familiar with how those pumps will do that. So whenever I heard it click on, what I did was I pumped my gas. Got, I want to say, I can't remember now, but it was 35 bucks and some change worth in this S10. We were pretty low on gas. Quite a bit of gas for this little truck. But anyways, got my gas, pumped it, and didn't think anything of it. Had hung up my gas pump and drove back home. I'm pretty sure this was on Easter Day, so this has been a little while back now. But anyways, what we ended up doing, since we had the day off, I get all holidays off at my job, thankfully. So since we had the day off, we went and ate with my wife's folks, my in-laws. So we went and ate with them, had dinner with them, and came home afterwards. Didn't think anything of it. One of my neighbors happened to catch me out in my yard. Most of them are retired, which I'm very thankful for. They, you know, they really watch the yard and keep an eye on things. And, you know, this guy, he's great right across the street. You know, if I ever get deliveries and packages, he'll watch out the window, make sure nobody's taking them and whatnot. Just, you know, top-notch folks around here, and I really appreciate the neighborhood I'm in. But he came over and he said, "Hey, Dustin, I just wanted to let you know that that the cops were at your house. I don't know what for, but I saw them knocking on the door." And of course, you know, I'm kind of embarrassed, first of all, because I'm like, why in the world would the cops be at my house? I didn't have a clue why they would have been here. So I told them, you know, well, that's kind of odd. You know, I'll call down to the station and see, you know, what the deal is. And of course, you know, my neighbor knowing me, I don't ever get into trouble or anything like that. He said, yeah, well, you know, maybe something happened down further the street that he's just wondering if you're an eyewitness on or something. I think he's probably just saying it to make me feel better, but it helped nonetheless. So anyways, we go into the house, and I call the police department, local police department here, say, you know, hi, my name's Dustin. I live at this address. A officer had just been by to visit me earlier today, and just wanted to see if there's anything I could help with. So what she did was she took my name and she took my number and said she'd have that officer call me here in the next little bit. So I thought, okay, no big deal. Gave her my info and went about my day. And then not even 15 minutes later, I hear my doorbell ring. And I'm thinking, holy cow, what are they doing here? You know, this is weird, because I peeked out my window and, you know, saw it was the cops. So I step out on the front porch, and he says, hi, is your name Dustin? Yeah, that's me. Do you own a 98 S10 ZR2 model that's registered under you? That's titled under you? Yeah. Did you happen to sell it? And my heart's beating kind of hard at this point, because I thought, oh my gosh, somebody had stole the pickup out of my yard, you know, which, you know, I keep everything locked up in the backyard. You can't get in my backyard without having keys or cutting a lock, I guess. But I thought, holy cow, you know, somebody's got back there and stole it, first of all. Because, silly me, I'd let the registration expire. I thought I had it paid, but didn't. I thought I had paid it, but evidently I hadn't, because he said the registration was expired, and he thought, oh, well, I thought maybe you just sold it, because we got on camera down here at the station as your license plate for not paying for gas. And so, you know, my heart's beating kind of hard at that point, because, like I say, I don't ever have any run-ins with the cops or anything like that. So I kind of, you know, start thinking this out, and I told him, you know, well, you know, here's what I was doing earlier down there. I ran my card 2 or 3 times, and that final time it had clicked on, so I pumped my gas. And I told him the amount, because I can remember. I'm pretty good with numbers. I can usually remember numbers pretty good. Let's say it was 35, 33, if I remember right. But I told him the exact amount, and he kind of laughed, you know. He said, well, you know, you seem like an honest guy. What had happened is the clerk inside the station had, I guess, saw that I was having trouble running my card, so she decided to click on the pump for me without my card actually running through. So in turn, you know, it let me pump my gas, but I would have had to have went inside to pay for it. But I wouldn't have known that because she didn't come out to say anything to me. Now, you know, I'll give her a pass. She was young, and I know she was just trying to be helpful, because I'm sure she knew I was probably frustrated out there and going to leave and give my business to another station, so I understand it. But, you know, definitely scary to have the cops show up and, you know, tell you didn't pay for your gas, you know, because, you know, you read those things on the side of your pumps that say, you know, these big fines and you could lose your license for not paying for the gas. But luckily, the cops around here are really pretty good folks. I've never had any issues with them, and was very thankful, you know, that the cop was very nice and courteous to me to let me just run back down to the station and pay for it. And so, you know, I hopped right in my other pickup and headed down to the station. Walked right in there, and she just kept apologizing to me, telling me that, you know, she had turned that pump on, and then as soon as she saw me drive off, she realized, of course, that I wasn't coming in to pay, so she had snapped a picture of my tags, and of course, you know, turned me in for not paying, and that's whenever the cops came to pay me a visit. So, if I could share one piece of advice with you folks, that is, if you think your card didn't run, go in and check, because I feel like in my situation, just, you know, the good community that I live in here, you know, the cop was very nice, very understanding of my story to let me go down there and just pay it, you know. I might not have gotten that lucky. He might have not believed me, you know, and then there I'd be in trouble. Luckily, the nice thing is that I'm here in this community. They knew right where I lived, whereas, you know, if you were traveling through somewhere and had done something like that, you know, that could be more trouble for you. Especially, you know, you drive way off to another state and then there you are. So guys, always check your statements and make sure that you got everything that you need on there. Anymore, I'm kind of skittish about it. I'll check my mobile app to see if the transaction has come through and that's actually ran. So definitely makes me feel better. Anyways, guys, I thought that'd be a fun little story time for you guys. Just a little experience in my life, and if it helps save you guys some trouble, then this has been a good video. And like I say, if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've done lots of stuff to this 98 ZR2. Show you how to troubleshoot a lot of things, how to replace like the fuel pump that we did. We did a radiator replacement, you know, teaching about antifreeze and all that sort of fun stuff. We've also got a 2014 High Country that we do some more fun things on. Like power running boards, some new wheels and tires that are really cool. Got a great review coming up on some Toyo tires that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like this sort of content, and also leave a like on this video. Know down in the comments below too, have you guys had any crazy stories like that? What's your little tidbit of advice of things that you had to learn the hard way? Alright guys, be sure to share the video with your friends, and until next time, take care.